So that's what Kid Cancer's been up to. Well, we took the summer off from Thrive Talks. But guys, I just want to welcome everybody. We'll go ahead and get started. We have 3 very special guests with us today. As you can see up in the corner, and I will pin them in a second so you can see them closer. But we have Missy, Aaron, and Emmet made a special appearance tonight too. The Brooks family is joining us from Wisconsin. Yeah, okay, Sparta. Did I get that right? It's because I send a lot of stuff to Sparta, to Cheyenne. So they are going to share their journey with us. I'll let Shannon go into a little bit more detail about who they are and why they mean so much to us. So now I will hand things over to Shannon, our amazing cancer mama and board member. Take it away.
Thank you, Miss Dana. I am so excited to have them on right now. And Emmet, thank you for even stepping in and saying hello. I don't know if you're going to join us the whole time.
I'll probably leave pretty soon, but I had to say hi.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. I mean, you are the story behind a lot of the why, and you're very inspiring in our community. So I just want to say before you leave that thank you. Keep it up. A lot of teens especially look up to you in our community and bringing a lot of hope to them. So good. Thank you.
Yep.
So I am going to read this because I don't want to mess it up. Missy Brooks, alongside her husband, Aaron, embarked on a very unexpected journey in about 2018 when they decided to create a skincare brand that specializes in handmade soap. What began as a small venture with no intentions of expanding quickly blossomed into something much more significant as people fell in love with their products. The demand for clean, safe alternatives grew, leading them to explore and create products free from phthalates, sulfates, parabens, without preservatives. And this just kind of grew as they went. Their commitment to clean ingredients was driven by customer requests and a personal journey of learning and discovery. But as their product line expanded to include clean laundry solutions and comprehensive skincare from head to toe, Missy and her husband remained steadfast in their mission to offer cleaner options for their customers. They also took a stand against environmental pollution by striving to limit the use of single-use plastics, reflecting their deep respect for the earth and its waters. And as I've received these packages, like I love opening everything, and everything just feels so clean and purposeful. The diagnosis then of their son, Emmet, which we just met with leukemia, marked a turning point in their lives and business. This personal battle brought a new level of understanding and commitment to health and wellness. It propelled them to dive even deeper into the world of clean living, not just for their family, but for their growing community of customers who trust them to provide safe, effective products. Today, Missy Brooks is not only a successful business owner of 1924 Custom Soapery with her husband, but also a passionate advocate for clean living and childhood cancer awareness. Her journey is a testament to the power of love and the relentless pursuit of health. And even as I was writing this, I was crying. I was in tears because it is inspirational, and you feel the overwhelm and the need to create something that's healthier for the community. But Missy, it's such an honor to have you here. Before we go into our topic today, I just wanted to make that connection again with everyone that's here, that we're all cancer parents, that we are united in that front. And as much as it stinks, it really sucks. I am so thankful to have all of you. I really am. So before we get started on our topic, though, I would like you to just tell us a little bit about Emmet's story.
Sure. All right. Well, he had just turned 17 and he was in the thick of wrestling season, and he was, okay, I'm going to cry. I wasn't planning on crying. He was just like really finding his way. he wasn't always a wrestler. He kind of dabbled in basketball and stuff. And we were thinking like, this might be the year he goes to state. And he was just like really strong and just doing really well. And he had this tournament where he just dominated. He didn't take first, but he did so well. And then the next tournament that he was at, he lost a match and he went and sat out at the table and some buddies were around and he goes, I think I'm just going to go out and lose my next one. And we were like, what? Because this is not him. He's always been such a like drive, like just driven kid. And so Aaron's like, well, that's not what we do. We go out and we try to win. And he went out and won. And the next day was the Super Bowl. And he just woke up really sore, but that's normal after a wrestling tournament. And he just kept saying how sore he was. He could hardly walk. And he had a mat burn on his knee. And ironically, we make a product called coffee butter. And Aaron's like, well, did you put coffee butter on it? So he puts coffee butter on it. We draw a circle around it. And he goes to a Super Bowl party and comes home and he goes, is it bad that I have a line going all the way from my knee up to my groin? And we were like, that's infection. And so a Sunday night, you know, take him to the ER. They do all kinds of things like on the knee, but they don't really check a CBC or whatever. So over the next few weeks, he just kept having like fevers and like he'd try to go to school and he'd just be too worn down. He'd try to go to the gym and he'd do it, but he'd come home. He's like, I had to sit down between every single every single set. And he was trying to decide like, because he made it on to the next part towards state. Should he try to keep wrestling or should he just try to heal because he was just feeling so terrible? And after multiple appointments, you know, the blood results come back that he has leukemia. So, you know, it's just like you go from thinking your kid just has some kind of like bug or something to, you know, it was a Thursday evening. It's like tomorrow you're getting a port, you're getting chemo and your spinal fluid, you're staying here tonight. And you're just like, we don't stay in the hospital for low grade fevers. Like, what is this, you know? So I don't know if you.
Yeah. So it was really just a whirlwind, as it is for a lot of cancer families. You know, if he wouldn't have received treatment within the first 3 weeks, he would have likely perished. Which is hard to think about because here's this muscly kid and he seems mostly fine, but he comes home from school and he just goes to bed because he doesn't have the energy.
And that's not like him. So, you know, probably the hardest thing was when they told him about it, he's like, can I wrestle? Can I play football? And they told him no. And that's what broke him. He just was like, it's all I focus on. It's all I care about. It's all I live for, you know, and he had to figure out a new focus, that was quite a journey for him too. And one of the first people I texted was Cheyenne, who is on the board for Kick Cancer, who lives in our town. And she jumped right in to help us with the business. She's a business owner herself, so she's amazing because she thinks like a business owner. So she's been a huge blessing to us.
Yeah, and I think that's how you even got introduced to the Kickstart kit and everything else. And just a little segue on that is if you have any questions in regards to the Kickstart kit after this, we will answer those questions. But okay, so I know the story with your business and your, you know, ingredients and everything else, but have you guys always been health and fitness minded? Because I mean, I've seen your workout routines. I've seen Emmet's like physical transformation and everything else. Like, has that always been a thing for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, for Aaron, it has. He kind of got me into it. We started dating when I was 17, he was 18. So yeah, he kind of got me into it, and it's a huge passion of ours. Our kids are both very active. And so, I mean, you're real. If you guys didn't see the reel that they posted today, there's pictures of Emmet 3 weeks in where he completely lost all of his muscle. And that was like such a hard mental thing for him to decide to try to start building back. Because he felt like it was just pointless at that point. And so, I mean, Aaron kind of went through that with him. He took him downstairs and tried to get him to start. And he just wasn't ready. He had to get through it. And I just want to say, for anybody who's on here, or anybody you guys come in contact with, if there is a teenager, especially a young man who is struggling, because that is so much often a part of their identity is their physique. You know, Emmet would love to talk to them. He connected with somebody through the Project Outrun, which they provide shoes, custom shoes for kids. When he was diagnosed, they connected just him and this guy who was a couple years older than him. Same thing happened to his body, and he was looking great. And it just gave Emmet hope, you know, and he was just able to tell him, like, just do push-ups, just do push-ups. And Aaron's always said that, just do push-ups, just do pull-ups, you know, just body weight's great, you know, but he just needed to hear it from a peer who had been through the same thing. So, and I know Season's always talking about community, and that's why we're all doing this right now.
Yeah, it's very different. And I think like with your husband, Aaron, it's also different for my husband, Aaron, even though they have very same names, but like the men, react and hold things different emotionally than us women do, and so forth. And so, just finding your crew, finding your niche, like it's very different. But what would you say were some of the things that you changed immediately? So you were already on this health drive, right?
Yep.
You already knew some of the things like
Yep.
eating somewhat healthy and sun and so forth. But what were some of the things that you changed immediately that you
So
felt?
I actually got on the phone with a lady, a natural practitioner, and she told us to focus on just 3 things. And I think that makes it just really easy for people, because you're so inundated with so much. And so she said just to focus on clean air, clean water, and clean food. And of course, there's a spectrum for all of those things, right? But we did test our water and made sure that we had a good water filtration system so that we were getting clean water. Food, like you said, we were already on a pretty clean journey, and there's things that we were kind of already doing, but I have learned a lot from Season's lives. I get on there and ask all these questions because, again, with the teen group and especially boys, there's like the Trend Twins on TikTok, and they eat all of these like sugar-free things and like powdered peanut butter and like all these protein shakes and stuff. And Emmet is very much into that stuff because he wants low calorie, high protein, you know, put on the muscle mass. And talking to Season in those Q&As that she does on her lives, you know, she was trying to explain like how a lot of that stuff, it doesn't even register as food to our bodies. It's registered as a toxin, you know, and it's really just better to eat the whole grass-fed steak than to eat, you know, powdered peanut butter or whatever, and then just get onto the whole peanut butter thing. We have a whole, like, today he wanted me to get peanut butter, and I'm like, well, it has myotoxins. So I look for almond butter, but in our small town, you can't find just almond butter. So I was like, okay, then what's the next best thing? But he said, or get me powdered peanut butter. And I'm like, I'm not buying that, you know? And I think it's hard because they are being inundated with their social media and those, like all of that stuff on TikTok with these bro guys, you know? And so I think just constantly explaining to them the why and like why we're not going to have that in the house, you know, and I'm not saying he doesn't ever get it, you know, he might buy it for himself. I'm not going to buy it, you know? So, I mean, it's just things like that. I think, focusing on cleaner protein powders or just on the meat itself. Aaron started to carrot juice regularly, and that's the thing Chris Beats Cancer talks about. So any day he had like a treatment, he would carrot juice for him. Trying to think, is there any other changes we made right away?
We've kind of always been about clean air in the house. You know, years ago I had our house tested for radon, and our radon levels were like 4 times the limit. And if anybody hasn't tested for radon, they really need to, especially in certain areas of the US. And so I installed a radon mitigation fan, and the levels went down to virtually 0. So that's a big source of lung cancer in the US. And so we've always been aware of like the clean air, clean water, clean food.
I will say one thing we also did change. We already knew about it, was like our cookware, but we actually had to like make the change, you know. we had some nonstick stuff, and some of that stuff is branded as different than Teflon, but it's really the same thing. Like, it's really just as toxic. So we just had to finally just take the leap and just get rid of it all and just figure out how to clean stainless steel or how to, and cast iron. And we just made the switch, you know?
Yeah.
And it's hard because air fryers, most of them are Teflon coated. And so it's just constantly, we're constantly having conversations with the kids because, you know, they want to use that stuff. They're seeing these recipes all over the place. And
Absolutely. Well, if you're listening right now and you can type into the chat, type what type of cookware that you are using right now. And maybe you have known for a while about that. Maybe you haven't known. There is an older movie came out, I want to say the early 2000s, called Dark Waters, about Teflon. And the fact that they won this case against C8 and Teflon being in the cookware pans, and they're still being used or renamed is really infuriating. The fact that it's still out there, knowing that it causes cancer and problems. So it's definitely, I would say, when your practitioner who you talk to, like, they gave you a kickstart per se, like they talked about clean air, clean water, clean food. So that would be, you know, really good top 3 to focus on. We're going to go a little bit deeper now. At Kick Cancer, we definitely give our Kickstart kits because we know that in the thick of this, it feels overwhelming. And I know that Missy has felt the same thing of, like, people would send her all these things like, do alkaline water or do this or do that. And she's like, well, that sounds fantastic, but just to implement it feels way too overwhelming right now. I know I would get those messages and start just crying. Like, I don't even know where to start. So breaking it down to those 3 things or getting a Kickstart kit from Kick Cancer is really what we're about, like making it as simple as we can. So we're just going to try and talk about top 5 things that you would say to change in your home. We did talk about one already, which was the cookware. So check that off the list. Let's see. Some of you may or may not know about what I call the new F word. So I call it the new F word. It's actually fragrance, so you don't have to cover your kids' ears. But fragrance, how do you avoid it? And what are some other options that you've used? I mean, especially owning your own soap company and everything else, like, how do you... I can't even imagine how to run a business without having to put fragrances and all those in your products. So,
well, and so this is really why I wanted Aaron here, because he's really the brains. You guys just see me doing the songs and dances and stuff on the social media, but he's the real brains.
my favorite.
So the biggest thing with fragrance is a word called phthalates. So it's PHTH. ALATES. So it's PHTH, phthalates. Those act like hormones to your body. So I just was listening to a podcast about them today. I encourage you to look up podcasts about them. They are very detrimental to especially boys' fertility. So they do cause like breast cancer, and they can increase asthma. And when I think about it with cancer kids who are already so like getting so many like toxins from their chemo and they're trying to like filter all this stuff out, it's just one more thing for them. It's like another like straw that breaks the camel's back. So it's the phthalates that are what's bad, because like I said, they act like a hormone to your body. So they think that it's a hormone there. So we do, in our business, we have products that are completely free of fragrance. We call them naked. Kids get a kick out of that when we say that to their parents. So we have like naked laundry detergent, like naked soaps, naked body butters, everything that we make unscented. We also have some that are just essential oil blends. So, you know, you can, if you want to be that much cleaner, you can go with just essential oils. We do use fragrances in our products, but Aaron made sure from day one to make sure that they were free of phthalates. What you need to know is you're not going to see phthalates on a list of ingredients. They do not have to disclose if they have them or not. So it's in the word fragrance on a product. Phthalates would be included in there if they are a company that chooses to use phthalates. And the reason they use phthalates is it extends the smell life. So, you know, when you walk by, I don't want to brand bash, but like you walk by Bath and Body Works and you can just smell that smell. They have phthalates in their products. So I like to think about our business like a lot of people love Bath and Body Works, but they don't want those phthalates. So we try to offer that fun smelling product for them in a phthalate-free option. But we also have the essential oil for the more crunchy people. And we have the naked for the people who are even more sensitive than that. So if you have a brand that you like, I encourage you to reach out to them and say like, are your products free of phthalates? If they adhere to European standards, then they are free of phthalates as well. So that's another thing. In Europe, they're not even allowed. So a lot of brands will say like European standard or whatever, and then you know that you're not getting phthalates. I don't know, do you want to say?
Yeah, I would just say, you know, the body consists of many systems working together, and digestive system, respiratory, nervous system, and people are most unfamiliar with the endocrine system. And so the endocrine system is just a series of glands in your body that produce hormones and substances that regulate your body. And so we know that phthalates are endocrine disruptors. And so we've known that for a long time, and yet they're still being used widely in America. So, I mean, it's difficult to avoid them entirely, but by reading labels, we can do it.
Yeah.
For the most part.
And in some ways, I always feel like it would make it easier just to live in Europe, just because they ban 1,800 chemicals that we allow here, and they ban food coloring. And, you know, these companies have separate products for Europe that they do here because we allow the food coloring, or we allow them to hide chemicals in the word fragrance, so that because they don't want to disclose it. And that's just really, really sad. So
Yes. I just want to say too, like there are fragrances being pumped out into our environment all the time. Like there are stores that pump it into their air so that you have like an olfactory association with that store when you smell it. Also they will pump it onto clothing and stuff. So it's very, very hard to avoid. So that's why like where you can control it, like within your own four walls, to just try to make sure you're getting phthalate free. And some labels are starting to say phthalate free. So, I mean, I think some brands are becoming wise to it.
yeah. Yeah. So, all right. If we are not using fragrance, is there anything that we should be cautious of when it comes to topical applications of products, especially for our kids in treatment? I mean, I know that even in our Kickstart kits, we have the naked lip balm, right? Which is perfect because we don't want any additional things on top of their lips, right?
Yes, right. Yeah. So Emmet, for example, he never used to be sensitive to really anything, and now he's very sensitive to lots of things. And so, and I'll often have people message me about friends who are going through chemo and what should they use. And we always tell people to just start with a naked product. I mean, if you can find an unscented, whatever it is that you need for your kid, just because there's again, they're getting so many things inundating their body that there might be something that before they weren't sensitive to and now they will be. Plus, we know like their sense of smell might not like what they're smelling while they're feeling nauseous and stuff. A big thing for us, and I don't know if I'm jumping ahead, I think I am, is laundry detergent is like such a big thing. And this is later on the list. You want me to wait?
No, it's okay. I was actually, it was kind of going right into there because you were just talking about Bath and Body Works and the strong smell and everything else. And it made me even think right then of the laundry aisle. I used to be able to walk down the laundry aisle, no problem, until I stopped using the plugins and I stopped using the things that smelled all the time. And then when I would walk down, it's like someone punched me in the face, like, whoa, hey, like that is strong. Like, you don't realize it when you're so overwhelmed with fragrance and smells all the time until you start to really detox and not be around it. But yeah, go into laundry.
I take a big breath if I have to go in that aisle, and then I try not to breathe as I walk through there, just because I know what's going on in there. I will say one thing I just want to say that's encouraging. I listened to a podcast today about phthalates, and they said that when you decrease your phthalate exposure, you can see that in tests like on the body, that there's less of it in your body. So I know. So it's like you can make a change. So laundry in particular, if you think about it, you're either wearing clothes all day or you're sleeping in the bed all night. So you're really exposed to whatever laundry products you're using all day long. And so we created a laundry detergent, but it's basically, you guys can make it yourself. I just don't know that people want to, right? It's made with washing soda, baking soda, salt, and soap. That's all that it is. And again, we have naked laundry detergent, we have essential oil options, and we have some fragrances that are phthalate free, just to try to meet the diverse need. You know, I think some of this stuff, it's hard to just go from like here to here, but if you move along the spectrum a little bit and make those small changes along the way, you might start out using a fragrance like Fresh and Clean, and then you might decide, you know what, I actually really like the smell of lavender eucalyptus, and I'm going to make that change. And so it's hard, it's overwhelming to think about changing everything all at once, and to go from, this smelly, yummy smelling laundry detergent and thinking about switching to something without a scent or whatever. So it's okay to take it in steps, I think.
Yeah. And I know I had heard this because I believe my daughter, when she was 2, she was still wearing onesies. And so when we're talking about the clothes that they wear, if you have a young child going through treatment, I would definitely look at their onesies, making sure that they're either 100% cotton or making sure that it doesn't say fire resistant on the tag, because that means that they've actually sprayed these clothes with flame retardant that they wear over the night, while they're supposed to be detoxing the most, while they are in rest mode, right? So you want to make sure that it's 100% cotton onesies, especially during treatment. So
That's a very good point.
let's see. Okay. Kit Cancer talks about food, but there are other ways that toxins are introduced internally. Can you talk about that? So, meaning, well, kind of what you talked about earlier, but clean air and water. So what did you guys do as far as those two?
Yeah, well, I want to, I don't know if this is the time to kind of say it, but just in general, like if you like when we were talking about cookware, so that's one place, right? That cookware, while you're cooking with it, isn't just like getting on your food, it's also going out into your environment. So like, even if you have an air fryer that's Teflon coated and you put parchment paper down so your food's not touching it, those fumes are still going out into your environment. That's a place. If your kids are drinking out of plastic containers like sippy cups or water bottles, even eating on plastic cookware, storing your food, like your leftovers in plastic, like all of that stuff, if you can switch it to like glass or stainless steel, is just going to be a way that they're not getting all of those phthalates and like plastics leaching in and stuff. Or I think too, like I try to buy my stuff in glass, like my peanut butter in glass, my oil in glass, my balsamic vinegar in glass, because that's other places that it can get in.
Yeah, so outside of what we do with the soap business, I have like a 9-to-5 job where I work in manufacturing, and I'm exposed to a lot of different areas of chemistry. And so we've recently started injection molding, and we've had a lot of conversations about plastics. And pretty much if you take a plastic container of anything and you put water in it, and then you add 1 drop of red dye, and you leave that sit for 24 hours and you come back to it and you empty that bottle, it's likely going to be red. So that means that it's porous, and there's an exchange happening there between the plastic and the water. And so whatever you had in there, it's going to contain elements of that plastic. You know, from the 1950s until now, over 100,000 chemicals have been developed that didn't exist before the 1950s. And so, and it's just sort of, it's like the Wild West, like all these chemicals. We don't have longitudinal studies on how these chemicals affect the body over time. It's pretty much, yeah, let's approve it, and then let the longitudinal study be the population. And so it's hard to know how all this stuff is affecting endocrine systems and leading to cancer and yeah, and other issues.
So our business 1924 Custom Soapery is named after the year 1924, which is when Aaron's grandpa was born. And it was Aaron's idea was like, it was a time before plastics. And it's ironic because plastic is saving our kids' lives without IV treatment and all of these tubes that they have to use, right? So plastic is a necessity, but it's not a necessity in everything. It's not a necessity in skincare. It doesn't have to be in food. And so we vote with our dollars. You know, if you don't buy the food in plastic, then that brand's not gonna survive. You know, and so that's why like our lip lotions that you get in the Kit Cancer kit that are in cardboard, they are tedious to make. We fill them with a syringe. It's one at a time, and there's no fast way to do it. But for Aaron, he was like, how many lip tubes are in the landfills? You know, and so just choosing to support brands that support the environment, because ultimately, like a lot of this comes down to the cleanliness of our water and our air. And so you have to put it back kind of onto the brands. Like just because it's legal doesn't mean a brand has to choose that.
Yeah. And I know obviously we have different walks even on this call, like for some are just brand new into questioning things. Some have been here for a while, some even like Season. I mean, she was deep into the health and wellness industry when her son was diagnosed. So we're all on different walks, but in the comments, if you use like a whole house air filtration system that you love, or a water filtration system that you love and trust, just pop it in the comments. I want just to be able to start conversation and community around this type of stuff, especially for people who are brand new and you know, haven't switched anything over yet. So one of the easiest things, I see Berkey water filter, those are actually hard to get in some states now. So for those who have them, good for you. You got them before they made some claims that got them in trouble. So yes, you got yours. Some of the easier ways would be using houseplants as well. So houseplants is a good way to do it. There's what's it called? The snake plant, also called the mother-in-law's tongue, which helps to pull in toxins from the air. There's the Austin Air house filtration system. Those get pretty expensive though. So a lot of times I lead people to plants. I'm like, just put a plant in every room.
So on that note too, today when I was listening to this podcast about phthalates, they were saying like plant your own herbs. Like your kids may find joy in watching the growth of the plant, but also it'd be a plant, right? That serves a purpose. And now you're not buying those plastic clamshells of basil and rosemary and whatever. You've got your herbs growing if you have space for it.
We're a green thumb because I tend to kill everything. So I'm surprised my children are still here. But all right, so we've got Berkey. No one else has any other options? Okay. I do want to throw it up to any questions that you guys have for Melissa or Aaron at this time and things that they have done. Pristine Hydro. Ooh, I haven't heard of that one. Pristine Hydro. I'll have to look it up. Any questions for Missy or her husband, Aaron? Maybe in regards to anything that they've talked about or what they did nutritionally. Questions about Emmet? So, oh, she's talking about endocrine disruptors. So, she said endocrine disruptors, I'd love to hear more.
All right, so I can, like, Aaron, you said it very well. What you just said about what I heard today on my podcast that I listened to described it really well. They said that hormones are kind of like a lock and key system. And so I'm assuming like the hormone is like the key going into the system, but those phthalates are like the same size, like they look the same, and they actually act like a hormone to our bodies.
Yeah, so I would say that the body is really intelligently designed. And there's this really delicate balance happening all the time in the body. And so whether it's your pituitary gland or your adrenal gland or part of your immune system, there's secretions happening all the time to balance your body and for it to function like it does for so long. It's an amazing machine that's been built by God. So anything that is inserted into that system that disrupts that system will throw off major things in your body. And so and cause cancer perhaps, but definitely lead to some problems and inflammation. And oftentimes you won't even realize it's that. You'll just think, oh, well, I just feel horrible. And I used to feel so good, now I don't. And there's endocrine disruptors. And I always go back to the InfoWars guy and him talking about chemicals that make frogs gay, like
Yeah.
he's famous for saying that. And he was way ahead of the curve on that because he was talking about that like in the late 90s. And that's sort of when those studies were pioneered, like, atrazine and glyphosate and all that stuff. We don't know how these 100,000 chemicals are affecting our endocrine system, which is really delicate.
Yeah.
And if you think about, if we put our leftovers into plastic and then we eat it and our little kid eats it, their little body has to filter through that at a way higher rate than ours does. Like we have more mass to like absorb all of that. And then also if your kid is like fighting something like cancer, that makes it even harder on them. But in general, when we think of hormones, it's not just our sex hormones like estrogen and testosterone. Hormones govern everything in your body. And so, like Aaron said, it's always this like balance. And so when you disrupt that, and I heard today too, that there's like key times like in your children's lives where it really matters. Like if they're really exposed to this stuff at like a certain age, it's going to really disrupt things. And like he said, and especially like male fertility has been very, very impacted by this. Sperm counts, sizes of things have changed because of this. So it's a huge issue.
Yeah. And it's hidden in so many different facets of it. So it's hard to get it down to one label, but I mean, you have industrial, agricultural, even pharmaceuticals, have them. And then, heavy metals is going to be one as well. So some of the names, you talked about phthalates, but there's, you're looking for bisphenol A. So it'd be BPA. And dioxins is another one. And then, in that movie, they talk, PFAs, right? So those are, I mean, we can go on and on. This really is, something that you can just go down an extreme long rabbit hole. But just something to start thinking about. And as Susan usually says, is just working on one small thing at a time. So if you want to start reducing phthalates, start with fragrance and plastics, right? That's it. Don't think about, I need to memorize the name of BPAs and dioxins and it's in heavy metals and I need a detox for heavy metals and just start with a few things that are tangible that you can focus on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I would say that there is a little bit of there's a compromise that has to happen worldwide. And so I think I got my first car in 1994, and it was a 1984 Chevy Celebrity, and it was rusted out. In 10 years, it was rusted out. And cars don't rust out that fast anymore because of some of these chemicals that are really bad for us. And so the question is, are we willing to compromise that for our own health, long-term health?
All right, I haven't been paying attention to the chat too much. Are there any questions that we have for Missy? You guys can unmute yourself too and chit chat a bit. And if not, then we'll go into just our after talks and talk about one more upcoming event. But does anybody have any questions? Okay, Missy and Aaron, thank you guys so much for joining us today. It was
for
a
having
pleasure
Thank you.
having you. Really was.
Thank
We
you
have
guys. And Season wanted me to tell you that she's so sad that she wasn't able to be here today. She has her dad's memorial this week. It's been 1 year since her dad passed. So they are celebrating his life, but she wanted me to pass along how grateful she is. I also have a request that you guys start making candles for a woman who loves candles but doesn't want the toxins. Not that you guys don't have enough on your plate. And then I just wanted to say, I'll be the first one. I don't know how to unpin you guys, so you can't see me, but this is Dana talking. And then I just wanted to let everybody here know that if you haven't received a cancer kit, definitely reach out, because this month we have a very special soap that is going in there. And I heard it was quite a labor of love. Our pediatric cancer soap that has the cancer ribbon on it. Aaron Cheyenne told us how difficult it was to make.
It was a lot of work, but it's worth it.
But we're so excited to gift that to our families this month who receive a kit. So thank you guys so very much for that. Very cool.
Thank you. Okay, so let's just a reminder, if you guys haven't seen, we do have our Dash for Hope that's coming up at the end of the month. This is virtual or in person. So virtual, what that looks like is you register, it's $30 per adult, $15 for kids, free for anyone who's in treatment or out of treatment for our cancer warriors. So to participate, you just register. And then on that day, or even if you do it the day before, it doesn't have to be on that day, but it's committing to working out or walking or running, saying that I'm going to do it because there's another child who can't right now, and I'm going to walk or run for them, or roller skate, whatever it is that you're doing that day. And then you're going to hashtag Kick Cancer and tag us on social media so that we can share that you joined us and you participated that day. And but if you are local in Southern California, it's in person in Diamond Bar. My husband and I will be there, as well as our athlete, Rosie Jane. So our future athlete, Rosie Jane, is going to be there. She is so precious. So I hope that you will be able to come to that. And then I just wanted to leave this open now for anyone who possibly had questions on the Kickstart kit. What's in there, how to use it. If you needed to reorder, maybe Dana can pop in some reorder links in there, and then just open it to, hello, how are you? But
yeah, I just posted the Dash for Hope, link. So you guys, like Shannon said, you don't have to be in Southern California. If you are, great, come see Shannon. But yeah, just register. All of the funds that raise go towards Kit Cancer and go towards helping us give out more of these kits. Like Shannon said, it's $15, I think, if you're, or free for any of our little cancer warriors. So we'd love to have you guys support us wherever you are at. So that's in there. And then, yeah, if you ever want to reorder, if you go onto our new website, we just got a refresher, our website did. All the links to all the products that you find in our kits are on our website. And it actually, a lot of them have affiliate links. So if you order through Kick Cancer, it takes you through, but then those companies give Kick Cancer a kickback. So it's another way that we raise funds to help support our families. So
And they're giving you a discount as well.
And
So you
there's a
get
discount,
and they're giving back to Kick Cancer, which is totally awesome.
for sure. And I just posted the link to the 1924 custom soapery. You guys, I am so obsessed with these soaps. Missy hears me say this all the time. There's one in particular, what is it called? Missy, the cactus cactus blossom, right? Oh, I love it so much. And then I don't know the name of the tie-dye one. That's actually it's our whole house's favorite.
It's just tie-dye.
It's oh look at that tie-dye.
Maybe we need a more creative name.
So good. It smells so good. And I was just telling Missy before everybody jumped on that it has patchouli in it. So it kind of threw me off because I didn't think my kids would love it. But there's like an orange scent and it is, oh my gosh, my whole bathroom smells so amazing afterwards. So I posted the link and I also posted the discount codes for 1920 custom soapery. I actually just put an order in yesterday because I want to try the body oils. I'm trying to not use lotion anymore because you guys all have taught me so much. So I'm going to use the oil instead. And then we didn't touch on it much, but I don't know if you have any thoughts, but I was actually also wanting to try the shampoo and conditioner bars. I'm really worried about my shampoo and conditioner, but I need to get away from it because there's so much fragrance in it. I know it's terrible for me.
Yeah. Do you want me to talk about that?
Yeah. Tell me, because your hair looks amazing.
Oh, thank you. Well, honestly, I can't use our shampoo bars. They make my hair feel weighed down. And for some people it does that. Some people can use them every day, all the time. If you find that, you can just use it for like shaving lather because it lathers like insane, or usually men have no issue with it. But the conditioner is amazing. I love the conditioner. It is so good. So I always tell people to first, if you're going to try to transition to a shampoo and conditioner bar, our brand or any brand, you should start by changing just one of those products first so that you don't wonder which one it was. So, maybe start with just the conditioner bar for a week. And if you love it, then switch over to also the shampoo bar. But not only does it eliminate like artificial fragrances that might have phthalates and stuff, a lot of times shampoo bars have sulfates in them, and you'll see it in the product. The ingredient is called sodium lauryl sulfate, SLS, and it acts like a lathering agent, but it's really drying to the skin. So unfortunately, a lot of people will get like itchy scalp and stuff, and they'll ask me like, what product can I use? Like, can I use a body oil on that? And I'm like, well, you sure can. You can use the Lux oil, but you should probably just stop using a sulfate on your head. And usually that's what fixes it. So a lot of people do find relief switching to the shampoo bar. Again, you can try other brands and stuff. Just make sure that there's no sodium lauryl sulfate. What we create our lather with in all of our products is with castor oil and aloe juice versus a sulfate. So it's like actually really good for you. And then also you're not contributing to the single-use plastic issue. So you're just, throwing away. We use a coffee filter to label those products. So, and our stickers are just paper. So everything's recyclable. So
it's so funny you say that because I can actually always tell when I get a delivery from you because as I'm walking to the mailbox, like right before I get there, I can smell it. I also live in Phoenix where it's really hot. So like anything that's in there, like you can smell. But yeah, make the whole little neighborhood area smell great.
There's a question on here that says, what shampoo do you use if the bar doesn't work well?
Sure.
It's another good option.
Yeah, I was turned on to the Monat, or however you say it. Everyone says it different. Monat brand. Yeah. Because I was told at the time that it adheres to European standards. So that is why I chose that brand. Emmet's girlfriend, Zandria, who didn't pop on here, but if you follow our stories, if you start following us on social media, she makes regular appearances picking on me for how I say words. She just found a really great brand. I don't know what it is right now, but it's free of all the things. So I know there are some out there. I'm sorry, I don't know that brand off the top of my head. We are going to try to create a different shampoo bar that has a different pH to it. So stay tuned, and I think that one will work for me. But yeah, that's the brand I use now.
And I also, for those of you who don't wash your hair very often, like me, I don't wash my hair. dry shampoo. I like that too.
The
And
dry
it comes with the
shampoo.
cutest little brush.
Also, we'd be lost without Cheyenne for the dry shampoo. Just gonna
Oh, good
say,
job, Cheyenne.
she's made so much for us. But it is like clay, some charcoal. Cheyenne could probably tell you better than I can what's even in it, but it's just like super natural products, because that's another product, dry shampoo. In the can, if it sprays out, there was like a huge lawsuit from multiple brands about the benzene in there. And that's the same thing that's like in sunscreens that actually causes leukemia. So there was huge lawsuits, and we happened to come out with our dry shampoo at that time. I ran out of dry shampoo and I was like, what should I buy? And people like just said, make your own. And so Aaron, he's just so good at it. He created this really great product. It gives me some texture too. And it's all natural. It's just a powder you tap on.
Jessica says that you're from Sparta. She's from Winona.
Oh, yeah, Winona. Hi.
I was like, did I say that right?
Winona.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yep. I
Is it-
just looked at your Instagram and I was like, oh, Sparta. I know where that is.
Oh, nice. Well,
And then
hi.
Jessica, one of our board members who, I don't know if Cheyenne's still on her. Yeah, she's still on here. She's from Sparta as well.
Oh, and she just popped up the arrowroot powder, sodium bicarbonate, which is baking soda, kaolin clay, rasul clay, and cocoa powder. That's the ingredients. So you guys can make this stuff yourself. It's just that we try to make that easier for you so you don't have to.
I think you do a better job than I would.
Well, thanks.
Yes. So yeah, so I just put some codes up. If you guys need them again, you can copy them. You can always message us. We'd be happy to send them over to you. But again, anything that's in our kits, the discount codes and the links are on our website. So we've also got, I'm trying to think of what else I order from, like we order Paleo Valley a lot. They've got some really good discount codes and they give a great kickback to Kick Cancer. Our salts, Salty Tab Co, they give back a lot as well, which I feel like I'm missing some. I feel everybody for the most part does. They're very supportive, but that's not why we use these products. Like that affiliate kickback actually came after the fact. Actually didn't come on until I asked them I came on board and asked them to give us money back. But we've been using these products because they're things that Season really believes in, for sure. Do you guys have any other questions? Any questions about the kits?
And if you haven't ordered one, order one. It's $9.99 for shipping, and Cheyenne, who's on here, will ship it right out to you. She boxes it with love.
Oh yeah, says prayers with over them.
Yes, she does.
Well, you guys sent us a box, I think last month we got it. It was wonderful. Thank you so much. My son was using the chapstick. He just finished his treatment. So obviously we had a long road by ourselves on everything. So I lost my mind for the past 6 months to a year, but everything you're talking about, we changed I stole the kids' cologne. They keep asking, like, are you going to give it back? I said, no. The air fryer went in the trash. I took I threw out everything. There was nothing left. So I was making stuff myself. It was a rough ride, but
Well, Jacqueline, I'm sorry that you had to feel alone during that time period, because it is so hard, and it really does not just take a village to raise a kid, but it takes like 10 villages to walk a family through their child's cancer. And so I always feel the families who are alone during that time and don't have a community to help with siblings or to help clean your house or to help do those things. But if there's anything, just even receiving that kit, I wish you could have got it sooner. That's really, my wish. But I'm glad that you're here now, because as we know that childhood cancer doesn't finish when they finish treatment. So we want to continue helping our kids to thrive even in survivorship, and continue just helping them to grow, work through their emotional and mental health and yours as well. And I think a community does a really good job at that. So hopefully being here every month for you ladies, for your families, that we can just be that support for you a little bit. And don't be afraid to pop into our messages if you have questions. But we would love to see more of you monthly as well. And maybe even your faces, because remember, most of us here are cancer moms, so we all know what it's like to be going, hey, Jacqueline, to be going through treatment. And just because I have some makeup on does not mean that I look like this all the time, nor did I during treatment. That was not a thing. So,
Come as you
my
are.
fake work office, but yeah, I'm excited about the shampoo because I threw all those out and I can't wait to use your stuff. We buy Paleo Valley. I mean, I went through all the products myself and found them. So it's so, I mean, when you get that kit, it's amazing. You guys are doing a fantastic job and I appreciate it.
So glad to hear that. I know it's funny. I started using the Paleo Valley, their protein powder about like 4 months ago, and my fingernails have never grown in my entire life. I've never had real fingernails, and my fingernails, I'm like cutting them and filing them all the time. It's amazing. Their products are great. We had Autumn on, the owner of and creator of Paleo Valley was on a couple months ago, and it was just as insightful as Missy's talk with us today. I'm just learning so much from all these people.
I have to say, one of my favorite things in the kit is the coconut butter. Is that what it is?
from Artist Sana Market.
Yes. So when I make like energy bites or whatever, you know, I will use that instead of coconut oil, and it takes it next level.
That's a great idea. I'm gonna have to try that.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, do you guys have any other questions for us? Anything about the kits? Anything? This is like a free for all at this point where you can ask whatever you want. No? Well, next month, let's see. Did I get the date right? Was it I think it's October 10th. 10th? Can't remember if I took this picture before or after, but next month is going to be super interesting because we have Dr. Pennick. For those of you who are a part of Season's Thrive community, Dr. Pennick, I didn't even know it was a brother-in-law for 6 months at all. But Dr. Pennick is going to be with us. And part of the reason we asked him to come on is because he's going to talk to us from an MD's perspective, but talk about the oncologist perspective. And I know that's kind of a tough conversation for parents because those who are on this journey with kit cancer and Missy and, Shannon, I know can attest to it. When you start down this journey and your oncologist doesn't agree with you or they give you pushback, it's really frustrating. And so Dr. Pennick's going to come on, and he said we can ask him all the questions and he'll give us the answers as to maybe why an oncologist is answering a certain way. So it should be a super interesting conversation. Dr. Pennick always is such a bright light and has always such great information for all of us. So that'll be next month. But last chance, any questions? Any last minute thoughts? Shannon, Missy, Jacqueline?
Well, my oncologist comes to me and asks all the questions of what I'm doing and passes what I'm doing on to all the patients. So, I mean, they steal my ideas. I mean, which I got from you guys. I mean, I'm passing it along to everybody. So
love it. Well, what hospital?
John was at the University of Chicago, Comer, in Chicago or Hyde Park. So if there's anybody, I had a big chip on my shoulder when I started. I was not I was like, my son went from running track and, and then his ankle blew up and we were like, why isn't it getting better? And we had 5 diagnoses. They didn't find out what was wrong with him till he already started treatment, but I waited. I didn't go right into it. I tried going the natural route first. And he was getting worse. So we had to do something. But yeah, it was a journey.
Well, we may reach out to you, Jacqueline, because I don't know if you were on at the very beginning of the call when I talked about what we're doing next week in Florida.
But I missed it. I was running late.
We are, Season and myself and one of our cancer moms from Florida are holding a workshop on the oncology floor at Nick Klaus in Miami. And they've been really receptive too. So we are hoping that this workshop goes well and that the hospital is all on board. But then our hope is that we get to take that to other hospitals whose oncology floor is also open to what we're doing. And then I just really feel like that's where our mission can just explode and just really impact all the families. Season's goal is to touch every single family that gets hit by cancer. So I think this is our way to do it. So
Well,
bet
I
the
think
ground
parents
becomes
are looking for things like, how else can I help my kid? And these doctors have to come up with something. So, I mean, our nurse practitioner uses she's fine with essential oils. And I mean, not that she has a choice, it's my kid, but she's open to it. She keeps saying, what else are you doing? And, because when we had the mouse, I mean, I throw a big enough fit that everybody in the hospital knows what's going on. So,
good for you.
yeah, you have to.
You have to. We're their advocates. Nobody else is going to be.
That's right.
Absolutely. Amazing.
Well, thanks again.
Thank you, Jacqueline, for sharing. And thank you all for sticking around. If you have any other questions, we're always available. You know where to find us.
Yes,
And
thank
we'll
you
see you
guys.
all next month.
Have a great evening.
Missy, thank you. We appreciate you so much. I can't wait to get my next order. I got my shipping tracking order this morning, so should be here soon.